Welcome back to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Day 3 at the Singapore Fintech Festival. And joining me for this segment, we have Paul Atkins, who's the CEO of Patomak Global Partners. We're going to take a look at SEC regulatory landscape for digital assets, always a hot topic. Paul, it's great to see you on this side of the world, from New York to Singapore.
How about that?
Yep. And you know what, a big topic within the content I cover, Bitcoin ETFs. Everyone wants to know when we're going to get one.
Yeah. Oh, an ETF. Well, the SEC turned down another one here a couple of months ago, and on the pretty much the same type of grounds that they had turned down others previously, and that's they're afraid of fraud and the marketplace, and ETFs are accessible, of course, by a wide group of people. So I think that's their rationale. I wish that we could find a way to get this done, but I think it's going to take a while longer of work but the SEC is kind of making advances in other areas. I think finally but it's a slow-moving type of target.
Yeah, I mean the recent rejection, 112-page order.
Yeah,
it looks.
500 footnotes.
It sounds like there's a lot that they have to be concerned there. Also, Blockstack and YouNow. What are those? What are some of the concerns around that?
Those two came out with it's called a Reg A plus offering. So those are actually registered securities offerings. They're not the whole shebang of initial public offering. It's meant to be attractive for smaller companies, and so there's kind of special rules around it with an offering circular that they have and whatnot. So, but I think that's a great step forward for the SEC to have done those two. The CEO of Blockstack kind of cracked a joke because he spent upwards of $1 million on lawyers and everything else to get that done. And so his joke was, well, this is my contribution to the industry. Unfortunately, I mean, that's the world that we live in here with respect to registered offerings, that you have all the different gatekeepers in that space, and they, it takes money to do it, but which is, the ultimate attraction of something that is digital and online in the digital asset space that can cut through a lot of that type of, that's the promise ultimately.
What about utility tokens? There's some promise there, but even still, it seems to be there's an issue with mass adoption. But SEC Chair Clayton, he has expressed interest in finding a path forward for utility tokens.
Yeah. Well, so I've been involved with the Chamber of Digital Commerce and what we call the Token Alliance. I'm the co-chairman of that with Jim Newsom. And so a couple years ago, we came out with a white paper talking about utility tokens, that there is a legitimate space for something that's not a security and not a commodity. And so I'm happy that the SEC recognized that with Turnkey Jet and whatnot. As Commissioner Hester Peirce, Crypto Mama, said, and Hester and I go way back. She used to be my counsel when I was a commissioner at the SEC. But Hester actually made the observation that basically what that offering had and what was they went out with was equivalent to, say, a gift card at Starbucks. And so are we saying that that Starbucks gift cards are securities? Now, obviously not. But so I think there's still some space that needs to be done, work that needs to be done by the SEC, in this space to bring more clarity to utility tokens. And so in our white paper that we came out with 2 years ago, we put out some parameters. And so I really, I'm hopeful that the SEC is going in that direction and that we can get some of that much more systematized and accepted on their side.
Yeah, I remember covering that paper at the market site. Let's wrap it up here with client work. What are some of the challenges that you see that firms are facing?
When we talk about uncertainty in this digital asset space, that's the real essence of approaching the United States market. And so U.S. investors are on a lot of platforms basically cut out. It basically says do not enter here, and which is not necessarily the best thing. I think in the United States we want to be leaders in this area. At the same time, I know that people have legitimate concerns about fraud and and that sort of thing. But that will always be with us. But as people can put a lot of money into a lottery ticket for naught, on the same token, there, we need to balance this and allow people who are grown-ups to be able to decide what they want to do.
Because you can argue that fraud exists even on traditional fiat.
No,
fraud is always going to exist. So I hope we start to move past that and look at ways that even the underlying technology can bring to not just finance, but all the other verticals that blockchain, for example, could support, and how this can open up banking for the unbanked and other types of funding.
Yeah, so investor education is key,
right.
And there are some roadblocks that can be put up to keep it out from the hoi polloi, maybe at least at the beginning. For more, sort of a more, graded entry. But I just came back from China, and so they have some of the similar things. I mean, China has not completely embraced it, although President Xi came out with his statement on Bitcoin the other day, which has a lot of people talking over there. So I think that, it's interesting with Libra, discussion around that, Facebook's Libra initiative, that had government officials, ironically, in both Peking and Washington, basically, looking at that askance in sort of the same way, which is ironic. But anyway, so I think there are a lot of hurdles in education that needs to be done by the industry with respect to government officials, and we've been trying to do that over time. And so I think, it will change over time, but this industry moves very quickly. People are impatient, and with good reason. But we're dealing with kind of apples and oranges there, and that's we'll keep plugging away.
All right, Paul, thanks so much for joining us at the Fintech Festival.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me on Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.